WLEE News Talk 990. You are listening to the Community Radio Show.
All right. Good morning. Saturday, July 29th, 2012, the 9th day of Ramadan. Welcome. This is the Community Radio Show, and I am not coughing today.
Thank God.
I'm Bukhari Sirraj, co-host, and here beside me is Muhammad Hadi.
Good morning. Assalamu alaikum. I hope everyone had a nice week. I can't believe we're back on the air again.
It's crazy.
It was a slow Monday and Tuesday, and then right around 2 o'clock on Wednesday, I think it kind of started going fast. I'd like to thank everyone who's listening on the radio and everyone who's streaming it live. You can see the video. We're waving to you right now. Hello. I even dressed up because I realized that, people are going to be seeing what we're doing.
I'm going to be honest. The tie he has on is hideous.
It matches my backpack.
Which is hideous.
I get a lot of compliments on my tie, all right? So don't be hating. Well, thanks again for joining us. This is the Community Radio Show on WLEE News Talk 990. We'll give you those numbers. It's 788-0990, 788-0990. Toll free out of the area is 877-953-3990.
Yep, man. You can stay in touch with us online through our website, communityradioshow.com. There you can find our links to our Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube pages. Hopefully I didn't kill anybody's ears just now. But you can search for us on Facebook, Community Radio Show. Just type that into the search and it should pop up. The Twitter is ComRadio, COMMRADIO 990. And our YouTube page, which we have up to kind of archive the old episodes, is going to be youtube.com/Community Radio Show.
There you go. And you can always call the station and they'll give us a message if you want to use the old-fashioned way of calling us. So, well, like you said, it's a community radio show. Let me talk about we've been pitching the show here and there at different events, and people keep asking us what's the purpose of the show and the mission. And the reason that we approached the station to do this was, frankly, because there's not a open forum like this to establish a dialogue between Muslims and non-Muslims, or even between Muslims within the community to talk about different topics.
Yeah.
We want to have a open forum. We can have honest conversation and discuss the topics of the day, and we'll talk about current events, and we might even talk a little sports here and there.
Maybe. No guarantees. All right. Where we jumping?
Did you watch the opening ceremonies?
No, I didn't watch the opening ceremonies, actually. I was at the masjid last night. I heard it was kind of had a slow start, but then it got real interesting at the end. But I did hear that Michael Phelps almost got blown out.
Yeah, like 7/10 of a second.
Yeah, he barely made it to that eighth spot. So
I think he hit the bong one too many
times.
Yeah,
I'm gonna say, it's like, see, that's what happens when you smoke weed.
It slows you down.
It just kills everything.
It creates drag in the water. I mean, I'm sure he has any more hair he can shave off, but
exactly.
It's got. Yeah, I think I saw the opening ceremonies when the athletes were walking in, and to be honest with you, there's some countries there that I didn't know were countries. I thought they were just made up names. Like, That giggle in the back is our producer, Josh Price. I think he just giggled like a girl.
Yeah, it really did sound like it.
But I mean, seriously, I can't even think of the names right now. I mean, some of them were just like, 14-syllable names, and it's like some small island in the Caribbean somewhere.
Like the size of Richmond.
Yeah. And they have like 2 athletes.
So
and they're doing like, I don't know, power wrestling or something.
All right, we're gonna jump into a current event. For a lot of you folks that tune into AM 990 here on WLEE, I'm sure you've heard a lot about the Batman shooting out in Colorado. Now, there's a couple different ways for us to look at this, I guess, from the Muslims' perspective. For one, I'm kind of curious how many people out there were kind of jumping up and down like, "Yay, it's not a Muslim! Thank God," because that just would have been another black mark on the rap sheet per se. But what do you think, Hadi? I mean, should this act be labeled as terrorism? Does this qualify for terrorism? I mean, it doesn't really seem to be a hate crime because it's kind of, random targeted. But me personally, if I was in the theater, I would feel terrified. Hence, terrorism.
Right. No, I think it definitely does. I think the problem is that I saw this little image that went out. They said that if it was an Arab or Muslim, it would be labeled terrorist. If it was a black dude, he'd be labeled a thug. But since he's white, he's just he's mentally
mental illness.
It's a mental illness. But I mean, all that being said, I still don't think that changes the fact that you have people that were killed, and I think at some level that may take away from the actual tragedy that as Muslims or minorities, all we care about is how the thing gets labeled.
Right.
So how would that have changed if it was actually labeled as a terrorist? And let's say that it was him that said, I don't know if he's Christian or not, which is interesting that we don't know what his religion is. But let's just assume that
that is true. No, nobody's really brought that up at all. Not that I have a problem with, but that is, as far as the research that I've gone through, I haven't heard any.
No one's right. Christian terrorist, shoots up theater.
Yeah.
And so how would that have made life for us better?
Well, we won't say Christian terrorist just because we don't know. We'll say PhD dropout.
That's fine.
Shoots up theater. But also you got to take into consideration that he also had bombs that was in his apartment.
Right.
See, so
was he a militia member?
I don't think so.
I mean, this has got all the writings of a militia
and of a crazy person. So I don't know.
Right.
The mentally insane may hold up. But yeah. So when you add that into it, it's kind of like where does it go? But apparently, if you look at the way the media has labeled it, they're not labeling it as a terrorist incident. But like you said, is it kind of like, well, it's not a terrorist incident. Okay, whatever. You just kind of move on. There's still a lot of points dealing with this situation that me, as a Muslim, or a lot of people that aren't, would still take into consideration. Just one, the fact that situations like this can happen. It's not always Alibaba from who knows where that you have to worry about. Yeah. So it's kind of like, well, how do we deal with that? What kind of preparations do we as American citizens put into place for situations like this? So where I'm going. Hadi's giving me the look right now.
I can't believe it. Can you see me on the mic over there or the video cam? I'm just shaking my head. I can't.
Well, you wanted to bring it up. And should I just jump into it, or you got something else to say?
No, I mean, okay. Go ahead. You're about to hang yourself with your own rope. Just keep going.
Trust me, the rope is extremely long. But okay, this is where we get into gun control.
To wrap around your neck multiple times. Yeah.
Which, as I said, if you've been listening to WLEE AM 990, you've heard a lot about this with the whole gun control debate. Does this spur more gun control? Does it not? Does it spur any type of profiling? Does it not? My thing is, I'm a gun enthusiast per se. So my thing is, gun control doesn't help the situation, and the reason why I think that, and I'll go back to really something that I don't think a lot of people talk about, is the drug trade. Okay, in this country, you cannot stop drugs from coming in this country. Apparently, it's failed. Now when you have drugs, you have money, and we have drugs and money is going to be protected by what? Guns.
How many drug cartel dudes have you run up against in your
life? No, I don't have to. See, this is the thing. I don't have to run up against drug cartel dudes, but from somebody that lived in the country, I know that there's an influx of drugs, even here in Richmond, Virginia. There's an extreme amount of drugs. We still have a lot of dealers and everything. No, but see, law enforcement. Do you know the numbers on law enforcement? In fact, do you know why law enforcement uses cars? Because the most effective way to police an area is by foot or by bike. The reason why they use cars is so they can keep pretty much driving around. They can scan a bigger area, but it's not going to be as in depth, and it also increases their presence.
They're not funded well enough to have enough people on the streets. Oh, well, they don't do community policing.
But that's an excuse
for what?
For it not being as effective as it should be.
So if there aren't enough cardiologists in a particular given city, then we should just give everyone scalpels so they can perform their own surgery.
Now that's that's over the top.
That is not over the top.
That is okay. Well, there are some things in that I would like to say that make sense. If you're gonna perform,
of course, it makes sense.
Okay, you're going way. I'm gonna bring this back a little bit. He giggled again. I'm gonna bring this back a little bit. Okay, as gun owners, as people that are to me, as a citizen, you are charged with your own safety. Okay? As a man, you're charged with your own. And actually, as a Muslim, this is part of your role. So let's understand that I am coming from an Islamic perspective. It is your duty to, one, protect yourself, of course, and to protect your family. Okay? Now, if something happens somewhere, say you're in the movie theater, just like with this one, you don't have enough time to call 911 and say, hey, Mr. Policeman, come save me. At that point, you are charged with your own safety. And if you read some of the reports, like I was reading one thing where they kind of put a little story together about 3 boyfriends that had went and jumped on top of their girlfriends to shield them from getting hit, and they died. See? So in that sense, you kind of have that automatic fulfillment of, okay, I need to protect my loved one. The question is, how can you do it if the scales are not even near to being balanced? See, and that's the thing. You're always going to have criminals. And criminals, you can have as many gun laws as you want. The concept of a criminal is to break law. So you can make any law that you want. There's going to be a way to circumvent it for criminals. And especially in this country, you're going to be able to get guns.
Right.
Period.
We had that era in which people carried guns for themselves and protected themselves. It was called the Wild West. And, people got shot over, a nickel, 10 cents, 50 cents of gambling debt. So I don't think we want to return back to that. I
don't think we'll return back to that.
And I think precisely
we still do the same thing.
I'll let you talk for like almost
go ahead,
4 minutes.
See, you're taking me off course, but go ahead.
No, your facts are taking you off course, not me. I'm not contributing to that at all.
I haven't.
So the point is precisely because we're talking about perception and reality, and precisely because you are Muslim, that I think you should reconsider very much having guns. Because you're giving an opportunity for law enforcement to use that to come into your house. To you may have signed your name on the conceal and carry permit with your left hand because your right hand was broken, and it's not the same signature. And now they're now it's like you don't have the same signature, and so they're like where'd you get these guns and things like that. I just don't think that it's a practical notion. Ideally, yes, fine. We idealistically, if we all carried guns, then we can, shoot each other.
I didn't say we all had to carry guns. That's one. And two, as a person, I shoot a lot. My thing is, if you are going to carry, you do need to be familiar with what you're carrying and have practice and be able to use it in a way that is, supposed to be used. Like you don't want to, have, just random people getting hit and things like that. Okay. Say that again. Oh, yeah.
Turn your mic on.
He said in Virginia. Now, see, that's true. Now that
anybody can just get a gun and put it on their hip for a concealed weapons permit.
Right, and I agree with that. And maybe that's the point where we can kind of bridge the whole gun control. And maybe it doesn't need to be so easy, or maybe we should have ways, excuse me, of creating a more not restrictions, but legislation where you have to go through certain things to be trained, but not necessarily, okay, hey, we need to take more of your guns or, lessen your ability to carry.
But isn't that a form of gun control?
I don't think so, because my thing is, as long as you say that I can't have it, we're okay. Now, if you say that you need to go to this class a couple times a week or you need to be able to do this, that's fine. It's like, when you get your driver's license, if they wanted to say, hey, you have to retake this test every year, we're going to say, okay, well, we're going to retake this test because we want to keep our driver's license. That's just something that you have to go through. But you still have your car. You still have your ability to travel. You can still get from point A to point B. And, you can still get from point A to point B. So you still have that right that's not necessarily being taken away or infringed. It's just being not restricted, but kind of tightened up so this way it's done effectively.
But isn't it a fair assessment to say that the groups like the NRA on just numerous occasions, just regardless of what it is, regardless of what whether it's an all-out restriction or whether it's just a couple even if it's just something that's tightening up on any guns whatsoever, the NRA just doesn't want to hear anything about any legislation like that.
Yeah, I agree with that, and I don't agree that they do that. So even though.
For those of you that are not watching, don't spoil the surprise.
No, I'm gonna bring that up later. I'm gonna give a little bit of time.